Most photographs celebrate the subject in the foreground, but sometimes the background is where the action is. In this case, I want to turn these fairy lights into lovely coloured blobs of light behind the main subject. This shot is all about the lights in the background. I want them to be nice, colourful blobs of light behind the main subject. In fact, the main subject doesn't even matter. I've just plonked an ornament here. It could be anything at all. The whole point is that this subject in the foreground is giving the camera something to focus on, which in turn makes the lights behind it go blurred and turn into those lovely blobs, which is what we're after. So with all macro photography, it's a case of really seeing how close you can get to the subject, because the rule is the closer you get to the subject, the more blurring you'll get in the background. And since it's blurring that I'm after, I want to get as close as possible. So let's see what we can do just with the normal camera lens. Now from this distance, I can already see that the fireplace behind it is providing really nice contrast in terms of light. You've got that darkness of the fireplace behind the very brightly lit golden star in the foreground. It's really nice framing. But you could adjust the composition. You could go a little bit higher so the lights are directly behind that star, or a little bit lower and position the star with the fireplace around it. It's completely up to you, whatever looks nicest. But for me, I want to get closer and closer still. Remember, the closer you get to the subject, the more blurring you're going to get in the background. Now, some phones have got an additional portrait mode. These are really designed for taking pictures of people and to achieve a blurry background behind them, but they can sometimes work well for macro modes. As always, it's just a case of experimenting. So I'm going to switch this phone to its portrait mode and see what I can do. Again, it's a case of focusing on the subject and just seeing what the camera is happy to achieve. Now, you may also have some software blurring applied here. Just adjust that and see what you like. I'm going to try and achieve most of this optically, so I've got the software blurring set to low. I had to move back a few centimeters compared to using the normal camera, but I think the blurring looked a little bit nicer in the portrait mode. Again, there's no right or wrong here, it's whatever looks best to you, but I really like the way that the star is highlighted against the dark background of the fireplace, and you've got those blurred fairy lights in the background. All cameras and lenses have a closest focusing distance beyond which they won't make your subject sharp anymore. And this can be a problem with macro photography because you're always trying to get as close as possible. And in this instance, I'm fine from about this distance, you know, about 5 inches or so away. But if I really want to fill the frame with this star on the top of the ornament, well, this camera is not going to focus on it. But there's no need to give up. There are a bunch of accessory lenses available that you can simply clip over the camera on your phone, and they will allow you to focus a lot closer. Now, this particular combination means that I lose autofocus, so I have to perform focusing by simply moving the phone itself closer or further away from the subject. So let's see how that looks. As I get closer and closer, I see the subject becoming sharper and sharper until it's fully focused at about this distance. That is less than an inch away, and it is allowing that subject to really fill the frame. But better still, it is really causing a lot of blurring in the background on those lights, and that is exactly the effect that I want to achieve here. You can also see some additional blurring on the reflections of the glitter on this ornament. It's just a lovely display of light.